Hello, my name is Ali Nawaz Naiman. I'm a student and worker of economic development. Last night I had a different dream than I usually have. In this dream, I saw that I was with 10, 12 other people in a country like Pakistan, perhaps, and we were in the streets. There were mobs of people. Some sort of civil unrest was going on. People were not happy with the state of affairs. And I knew that we had come as a team to help this place, but I don't remember what is that our assignment was and who had sent us and what we were going to do. But there were a bunch of development specialists. There was an engineer, there was an economist, there was an environmental specialist, and I clearly remember that being an institutional development and financial consultant, I have to look at the institution which is going to implement whatever that we are going to propose, and look at the financial position of what the entity is, and how whatever that we recommend and help implement, what will be the financial consequences of that. I don't remember any of that. But I do remember that towards the end of this long dream, uh, just before my eyes opened, I had, or rather, we had figured out how to start our job. And uh, this morning, as I woke up, I sort of tried to refresh myself as to how we do this type of work. And I just came down to my library, which is in the basement, and looked at various projects where I have been involved in. And first thing I touched related to a special assistance for project formation for Harare Water Supply Project, Republic of Zimbabwe. And this was a Step 1 mission and a Step 1 report, which we had submitted in March 1998. This was uh, after I had reached the age of 55. I took early retirement from World Bank on the day I became 55. Went to Pakistan in October within days to take charge as chairman of National Electric Power Regulatory Authority. For after several months, almost a year, I felt that I was not getting the work done which I had expected, and I came back to Washington. And it was a couple of months after I had returned that a friend, former friend, I should say former colleague from World Bank, a guy called Tony Van Woot, a Dutch person, called me to say that Japanese government is putting together a team to visit Zimbabwe and in particular city of Harare to see how water supply situation there can be improved. After some thought, I agreed to join the team as an institutional development and financial management worker on the team. We had never met. The team which was put together by Japanese government, we had never met. Uh, my exposure to Japan was limited to few missions I had uh, made to Japan, basically as part of World Bank to discuss various projects where co-financing was involved. One of such project was Saudi methanol project, which we had done in late 70s to bring together government of Saudi Arabia and investors from Japanese society to help construct a Japanese methanol project at Jubail in Saudi Arabia. Anyway, the confusion of the dream was not much different than what we had in for this project in Harare. The team, we all were coming from different places, and we were going to meet at London Airport and then take a flight to Harare. This was maybe December 97 or January 97. uh, Something around late 96, early 97. No, late 97 and early 98. Yes. So first time I met my Japanese counterparts, they seemed to be um, very pleasant, 5, 6 Japanese experts, and during the flight we talked about what we were supposed to do. Then we arrived in Harare. Uh, it became clear that uh, the government of Zimbabwe had requested Japanese government, as a result of which we were here, but the central government and the local government of Harare were not in full agreement on what had to be done. So we had to start with first things first. Our different team members sort of got started on their work, and let me just share with you what is the work we were supposed to do. Uh, we knew that we have to propose and eventually help design, construct a project to improve Harare water supply system. So first we had to look at the present situation. So we had to look at the project area where water will be supplied, population, which was based on 1992 census they had, and then evaluation of past population growth, um, the latest, we have to review latest figures. Uh, I must tell you that back in 1998, Zimbabwe was not as economically weak as it is today. There was the same president, President Robert Mugabe, and and the conflict with um, their colonial masters was there, but not as bad as it became in later years. The country was originally meaning in colonial period was called Rhodesia, and Rhodesia and South Africa were two of the most developed countries on continent of Africa, particularly sub-Saharan Africa. So they had a wonderful hotel and uh, very comfortable, if not 5 star, it was a 4 star hotel. People were reasonably dressed. Government officials, city officials, they had nice, comfortable offices, and the way they were dealing. So it was not too bad. So we started by looking at population to see how many people will have to be eventually served. we looked at the existing situation. Where were they getting water? What were the raw water resources? What was the system existing in terms of where water came, how water was treated, how water was sent through transmission lines, and eventually through distribution lines to various consumers. We looked at what the ongoing projects were in this particular sector. Was the water entity already expanding? Was the city government implementing some projects? Was the federal government doing something in terms of improving water supply? So this sort of brought us back. Now imagine we were going to be in the country for about 3 weeks, and at the end of that, we had to give first draft of our report to the um, Japanese consultants company. It was a company called Nippon Koi. We have to give them the report before we left Zimbabwe at the end of 3 weeks. So all this was taking place rather quickly. So then, looking at the population and existing, we looked at the possible population growth based on the past trends and new information that we had. So, what type of projects we were going to recommend in terms of, as I said, uh, new treatment plant or improving transmission and distribution, pumping stations, etc. What will be different phasing of that project, what will the project cost, how is that cost to be funded, what will Japanese government give, what will federal government of Zimbabwe give, what the city uh, government will give. And since there was no water authority per se, this was being implemented by water department of the municipality. So what they will do, so we had to look at all the technical aspects. As far as my particular role as institutional and organizational consultant was concerned, I had to look at what is the water sector organization, who is responsible, and as turned out within the government there was Ministry of Rural Resources and Water Development. They were the responsible agency. Within them, they had Department of Water Development. So we had to look at their organization, their staffing. Um, we had to then go up to the municipality to see what was their legal status, their responsibilities and functions, how they had organized the water uh, department, and eventually the what will be the sort of preliminary thoughts that we will have on changing all that, reorganizing, and we in early stage of the discussions based on experience in different places, we felt that the function had to be transferred to at least a semi-autonomous body with proper authority to do their own development work within national context, though, but how to implement projects, how to uh, organize themselves, change their structures, uh, implement whatever technical assistance or project implementation assistance they will get. In terms of financial uh, system, we had to start with uh, finances of the city of Harare, what was their financial related staffing, what was their link with the national organization in the ministry, what sort of national financial context city finance was operating. We looked at their accounting systems, accounts themselves, audit to determine to what extent this was reliable data that we could make judgments and on which we can eventually rely to fund and construct and help implement this project of several $100 million is spread over 4 or 5 years. Um, Within the water sector finance, we had to look at where they had come from, finances for last 5 years or so in terms of their income statement, cash flow statement, financial projections, their own accounting system of the water department, what sort of accounting system they were following, what sort of financial management they had, chief accountant, there was what staff he had, were there enough checks and balances, will they be able to manage this project, and the future organizational changes that we were going to recommend, what was their billing system, how were the bills, how was the meter reading done, how was the bills prepared, issued, sent to consumers, and then how the money was collected, how then it went to the city, and eventually either came back directly or came back through another channel to the water department. Most importantly, we had to see affordability of that water. As you know, water consumers are many. Industrial consumers, commercial uh, consumers, and then there are government consumers, private citizens, high income citizens who consume a lot of water, uh, poor consumers who hardly use enough water to drink and maybe occasionally take a bath because they do their laundry and stuff basically on rivers or some public places. They don't use too much city water, piped water. So then there were the task of preparing projections over the next several years to see what sort of changes, not only physical systems, but financial requirements and so on will have to be done so that this project will be successful. Of course, we look at environmental aspects because when we make new projects near the river, some people have to be moved. People usually in these developing countries come right up to banks of the river and construct their huts and small houses. They will have to be relocated. How we can make sure that the water which gets to the water treatment plant and water intake point, that all the garbage which is in river, solid waste, that does not get into it. Even dead bodies and regular trash used to end up there, and how to protect the system from that. So all those aspects were there, and we came up with a preliminary report which we presented eventually to government of Japan in March 1998. So coming back to the dream and the development process that our team in the dream was supposed to do. And now I'm sort of thinking back to, let us say, Pakistani situation. First lesson emerges that there are some national policies basic policies which citizens as a whole through democratic process they elect people based on certain manifesto or certain promises that the candidates and their political parties make and have hopefully they have to vote for people who have the best program, whose candidates are judged to be the best from the point of view of voter. And then there is a National Assembly, and there's a National Assembly who will then make policies and cabinet and who will help implement through the government. So while this so-called macroeconomic development planning and work is going on, there are the entities in each sector, whether it is water or electricity or industry or telecommunications, agriculture, aviation, railway, you name it, universities, education, health, all they have to be done. In that dream, I had felt last night that our team was not focused. We were sort of wandering. The problems were so many that we, at least in the dream, I could see that the team was not able to figure out priority. But then, as I said, when I woke up, I sort of went back 30, 40 years back to see how we used to do it in different countries. And this example of Zimbabwe came in my mind. Uh, and it made me realize that one has to work from bottoms up. One has to look at each sector. One has to look at each organization. One has to look at the top in terms of governance, the top in terms of cabinet, concerned minister. In fact, in terms of national development, each ministry has to deliver its whatever mandate people have given them to do in agriculture, in industry, in water, in power, so on. So it's a very complex project, and sometimes it seems that countries like Pakistan and many other developing countries are so confused. They don't know where to start. Well, something is, of course, going on in each ministry and each authority, but not enough is being done to lift countries like Pakistan out of the mess that they are in. Uh, so I have gone back to the baby states, and I will be thinking more about this and maybe share with you some of the uh, development efforts that I have been involved, and eventually to see if we can draw some conclusions for welfare of people